Hi, and welcome to another interesting conversation where we will be discussing on an important topic that very many of us actually avoid. And we'll be having a discussion around why and is life insurance important? Is life insurance something that you need to have? Is it a product that you need to have? Is it a service that you need to consume? And subsequently, is have you actually made plans around having a proper life insurance for yourself? So very many of us definitely have engaged with someone who was telling us about insurance and its importance. But the statistics in this country tell us that it's only about the insurance penetration is actually below 3% penetration. That means there's a huge percentage of people who today do not actually believe in life insurance. So what I want us to ask ourselves this time is actually is life insurance important for you, or is it a product that is meant for a certain class of people, or is it a product that is actually a must-have? And to bring this conversation to life, I just want you to comment on this video and say whether you have a life insurance or not, so that even as we engage, then we know where we are taking this the discussion, or what direction we are giving this conversation. So let's talk about um, life insurance and why it's important. And even as you think about that, it's actually important to realize that life insurance is actually an aspect of your financial planning. Why is it so? I like to say, for those of us who've done finance, and for those of you who have done finance, you know that one of the units, or one of the units that you take up in financial planning or in finance, is actually risk mitigation and insurance. And actually, that's what insurance is about. It's about risk mitigation. And why do we take risk mitigation measures? It's because we have something of interest that we would, of importance that we would lose should a risk occur. And therefore, that is why it's important to ask ourselves, am I adequately covered? Do I have a proper life insurance? And is it a product that you and I actually must have? And so to just bring this insurance conversation into perspective, I want to show an example of that I use to describe why insurance is important. I want you to take your mind back to the first time you moved out and you were actually living on your own. Give an example of a typical Kenyan coming to Nairobi from up country and starting life in Nairobi. At the point in which you came to Nairobi, I don't know whether you all some of us, we were privileged differently, but very many of us started living with a relative, or if you are not lucky, then you got yourself a single room somewhere. And think about it today. Was the kind of padlock that you had on your door a factor that you ever considered? Around that time? And I like to say no. Why? Because there was nothing really of significance that even if that's broke into my house, that they would steal. It was probably your first house. It was probably a mattress and a stove. That's it. But what happens is that as you continued growing financially, probably you bought a bed. Now you stopped sleeping on the floor. Now you are sleeping on a bed. And so subsequently, after that, you probably purchased a seat. And at that point in time, because you've increased the value of the contents in your house, then subsequently you also started thinking that that padlock on your door is actually a weak link. So what happened? You actually went out and changed the padlock on your door. Now, life moved on, and in our time we used to buy hi-fis. Why? They were called hi-fis, the music systems, the 3-4 CD changers. By the time you are getting that, then you are rich. And of course, you probably also bought a TV at that point in time. the one that had a big back. And at that point in time, what happened is that you realize that the padlock on your door is a weak link for your security. That means the padlock is actually the giveaway for what you have, for the property that you have accumulated, for the assets that you have bought. So probably even by the time you were even purchasing, so you went and changed the padlock. So probably even by the time you decided to erect an area for your TV, you realize that this estate that I'm living in, if they see an area outside, they'll come for the TV. So definitely you then had to move from that estate into another estate. So that simple illustration that tells you how insurance plays a day-to-day role in our lives, and how as you progress financially, then you need to take some risk mitigation measures to safeguard that which you have acquired, and to also protect that you have acquired. And by this time now, you are definitely making some more money. You start dressing well. Then you realized these guys will wait for you in the evening and mug you. So you actually had now to move from that estate into another estate that you felt was safer, that you will probably get home, say way after 8 or after 9, and you'll be comfortable walking home. So that basically defines the place of insurance. And so I want to define what are the 3 or 4, what are the purposes and the reasons as to why you need insurance. Number 1 is that insurance is a risk mitigation measure for you on the risks that you, me, and everybody else faces. What are these risks? Key is a risk that is universal to all of us is the risk of death, the risk of disability, and the risk of critical illness. They are saying today the question of critical illness is unfortunately getting to a point where we are going to start asking ourselves not who has had a critical illness, not who has had a critical illness, but who has not had a critical illness. Unfortunately, this is factors around the environment that we live in, the food that we eat, and all that. So these risks, I'm sure even for you today, are risks that you question. Today we talk about many of us, it's either you have somebody who you know who has died of cancer or is currently undergoing treatment for cancer. I've gone through down that path with my dad. And by God's grace, he was healed of cancer. And you realize how draining it is when actually that disease comes, or such kind of a critical illness comes. So it occurs to all of us. So what measures have you taken that, God forbid, should any of these risks occur, that then you are able to continue living your life at the same level of a lifestyle that you are living before the occurrence of that risk? So that is in the event of a critical illness. Why is it important? It's because you will actually not be able to work effectively, or not even able to work in the event that you contract a critical illness. In the event of a permanent disability, what then happens is that probably you are in a business where you are actually the business. If you run a shop, biashara ni wewe na wewe ni biashara. So in the event that you are disabled, or if you are in welding, you are running a workshop, or say you are a motor vehicle dealer, or say you are a teacher, or say you are a farmer, your ability to move around to go to your business, or even as a consultant, your ability to move around and actually go to your business defines then your ability to make money. So you need to have a risk mitigation plan that just in the event that, God forbid, you suffer a permanent disability, that then there's a payment, there's money that comes in and helps you to actually continue with the same level of a lifestyle. Lastly is in the event of death. That means there are people you leave behind, and probably and definitely because you are in business, or you are not only providing emotional support to your family, but you're also providing financial support. That means in the event of your demise, then that means your family also, besides suffering an emotional loss, they also suffer a financial loss. So that's the first aspect, because of the risks that are there. The other thing that I'd like to say about why you need insurance is that, based on what we've talked about, the aspect of these 3 risks, Life insurance is actually a gesture of love and care for those that you love, for your family. Because in the event of anything, then you are able to provide a buffer that enables them to safeguard the level of a lifestyle that you've given them. So today, God forbid, if you passed on as a result of an illness, an accident, or just old age, one of the things that will happen is that your family will suffer a financial loss. And that means the level of a lifestyle that you've given them will actually be affected because they do not have that income to maintain that level of a lifestyle. So how do you bridge that gap? You take up a life insurance, and it provides that in the event of death, that then that bridge, that gap, that space is actually not affected, and your family can still continue enjoying the same level of a lifestyle that they were enjoying before your demise or before an occurrence of a risk. So as a gesture of love and care for those, for your family. The third thing that why a life insurance is important is because a life insurance can also serve as a savings and an investment product. I like to say that a life insurance product is actually not to a big extent an investment, because there's a kind of life insurance that is called an endowment plan. That is a life insurance policy that has got a cash value. That means you can cash out of it. It grows in value as time goes on, and subsequently that means there is some financial value attached to it. And the more you contribute, the more that policy grows, and the more money you actually accumulate in that plan. So it's an avenue through which you can actually be able to save and invest your money. This happens more so in the event of education planning for your children, which is probably point number 4, that it is actually an avenue through which you can save for definite life occurrences or expenses. Your child's education is not a matter of if. It must happen whether you are there or not, whether you have money or not, whether you're in good health or not. You must be able to take care of your children's education. So what you do today is that by taking up an education policy, you actually plan deliberately that I am putting aside some money that gears me towards that goal, that I will need to have school fees, say, of 300,000 a year for my child's education. So subsequently, then I put aside this money that enables me to have that money for that purpose at that intended time. Yeah. The other thing that why life insurance is important is because it serves as an avenue for reducing the tax that you pay. Now, the government of Kenya today has given a 15% tax relief on any life insurance that you take up that is above 10 years. So that means that if you're putting in an amount of 10,000, in essence, you're putting in an amount of 8,500, because at the end of the financial year, the government will reimburse the 15% as you file your returns, and that becomes a saving. And this even explains why the Asian community are some of the biggest consumers of insurance in Kenya, because they actually want to take advantage of that tax relief that becomes a very important aspect of your finances, that then you actually are able to save money over and above just the saving that you put aside, but saving in terms of 15% of the money that you contribute towards a life insurance, you actually can get a refund out of it from the government of Kenya. The second last bit probably is definitely the fact that an insurance product can be used to create a legacy for. You can use it to create a legacy for yourself and your family. This is definite in the sense of definitely a whole life plan, which is a plan that very many life insurance agents do not sell. But a whole life insurance is a product that you can actually be able to double or triple your net worth today by paying a very small amount of premium and actually growing the value of your estate. So you could say that if you have an estate that is estimated or valued at 100 million, you can actually be able to take up a whole life plan that has got a value of an equivalent of your current estate. So if your estate is, say, 100 million, you can take up a whole life plan whose value is 100 million. And therefore, what that means is that your estate immediately doubles. I'll give an example of one of our clients at Excellence Molders who took up who took up a whole life plan through our agency, and actually for 100 million, they're actually paying a premium of about 70,000. They're only paying this for 10 years, and therefore they have put in about 8.4 million for 10 years. After that, that estate becomes live. It's actually live from the time they make their first installment or their first premium payment. And if as and of when death will ever occur, this plan actually guarantees that their estate will be paid the whole 100 million plus a 2.5 accrued bonus throughout the entire period that actually this person will be alive before the policy then pays upon death. So today you don't need to stress and hustle about building up an apartment that will actually use as an inheritance for your children, but you can actually create a policy, a whole life plan that gives you that ability to actually put aside that money and grow the aspect of your estate, grow the aspect of your legacy, grow an aspect of your inheritance to those that you love. So in the event of your demise, your estate still remains intact, but your family gets a cash value from your life policy. And you realize that from the math of that, an example that I've given, you're actually just contributing about 8.4 million for a value of 100 million plus 2.5% up to and until maturity. And I'm sure this is a policy that has gotten a lot of interest, and will kindly reach out to us, and we'll be able to enlighten you more about how you can use this as a plan for yourself. And finally, is that definitely an insurance is a product that enables you to have peace of mind. Peace of mind because of risks that you, me, and everybody else faces. Now, this is something that other investment products do not necessarily give you. An insurance product gives you that peace of mind that should any of the risk that you, me, and everybody else faces, that then we have a buffer, we have a product that is going to come in and actually safeguard your interest and the interest of your family by ensuring that you are able to by ensuring that you have the financial capability, or rather the financial capability of your family is not shaken by demise or by a risk materializing. So I hope you find this information helpful, and if you would want to have some more information about any life insurance product, at Excellence Molders we have a team that specializes with life insurance, and we'll be sure to be of assistance to you and to share with you this and many more products that will be of value to you. Thank you very much, and I hope you find this helpful.